Hi, I'm Rob Patz.
And I'm Kristen Stanton.
And this is the Rob and Kristen Show. Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Rob and Kristen Show. It's good to be here. Did you see this? Look at this. It's kind of still Christmas in our house.
It's still Christmas.
We love Christmas in our home. Plus, we have some Scandinavian roots, at least I do. And we, of course, do the 12 Days of Christmas. So it's not quite done yet, even though by the time you see this, the 12 Days of Christmas will be over. But this is just too cool. Got this from the state of Washington, and it looks cool. It's neat. We got our gingerbread house there, and we're not going to plug them since they didn't give us anything for free. So we're not going to plug who it is. If you ask us privately, we might be able to tell you. And in fact, a great way to get a hold of us is through our Facebook page, and that's kind of a neat way to keep up. I don't do anything there. That's Kristen's job, but it is.
Well, you do the Abundant TV.
I do.
And when I remember, I do the Rob and Kristen Show. But yes, you can find us on Facebook, the Rob and Kristen Show, or you can find us individually.
Or Instagram. So cool. It is almost as cool as 5 things we think you should know. It's the season. We're back. I love this. I'm so excited. I'm bouncing in my chair, which I can hear my professor sit still. But I am super excited. We have the top 5 things we think you should know. And we're starting off with one that, here, you know, I could totally do this. I totally could.
This has to be good.
I could. I have the whole, there's only one problem with this whole thing. I don't know how to swim.
That would be kind of a big problem.
Yeah, but this guy obviously knows how to swim. California surfer, they're getting ready to certify him as a world record. It was a 108-foot wave. And dude, it was like totally gnarly. Like his buddy was there. He said, this is just, it was like so cool. It was the funniest thing. If you want to Google it, you can find that. It's like, yeah, man, he was out there and it was sweet. It was sweet. And it was amazing. Very cool for him. And he just, and I loved what he said. It was like, he didn't do it going out there to be a world champion or a world record holder. He went out to do the best he could do.
Yeah.
And which I thought was super neat. 108-foot wave. I mean, it was amazing. You saw him in there, and it was very tubular, man. It was just...
Well, it was huge.
It was.
I mean, I had to look it up. I was looking up comparisons. Okay, so how tall is 108 feet? 108 feet, according to AI, is roughly about the size of a 10-story building.
It was gnarly.
So go and stand next to a 10-story building and then look up and imagine that being a wave over you and you're riding the wave.
Yeah,
so,
he was right inside. It was very cool.
It was.
I was like, oh.
Amazing. And that was
I could do that.
Yeah, okay.
I can't swim, which would immediately make me very scared because I know the end is not going to be nearly as much fun as like getting inside there, man. But hats off to him. Great job. Happened out in California. And like the coolest part, like I said, he goes, I wasn't really trying to set a world's record. I was just trying to do my best. And I think 2025, we should all have that kind of attitude.
Did you know that the current record is like 86 feet?
Yeah. So he's like going to really, he'll hold it for a long time.
Yeah. So if Guinness does certify it and the surfing credentials, whoever.
Yeah, it was some surfing association.
They have to certify it, and they said that it could take months.
Yep.
But if they do certify it, he's just going to absolutely shatter that record.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just incredible.
It's one of those things that you can't just like set out one day and say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to surf the tallest wave. No, you can't. I mean,
No,
you just
and
you
it
can't
just
do
it has
that.
to be, all the circumstances had to be right,
Mhm.
and he obviously very talented. I mean, ridiculous. You're talking about surfing a 10-story building. I mean, that is just crazy.
It really is. So we're going to turn our attention from California down to another coast
Hmm.
in the state of Florida.
Really?
Yeah.
What are we doing there?
We're looking for a lost dog.
Oh no, not doggies.
Yeah.
Well,
I looked everywhere for a bear story. There are no bear stories this week.
what an unbearable way to start the year.
But this dog, so this family, this is right before Christmas, okay? So this Florida family, their dog, I don't know how it got out or where it disappeared to. Nobody really knows. This dog disappeared. The family actually got the whole neighborhood on board trying to find this lost dog. And they searched and they searched and they searched. Couldn't find the dog. The dog was gone for almost 10 days.
Wow.
10 days.
It was like a vacation.
Might have been
There
on
it is.
vacation someplace.
He's probably in California, man, looking for some waves.
So Christmas Eve, 2:30 in the morning, the doorbell rang. And the family noticed on their ring
Yes.
that it was dog jumping up and ringing the doorbell. So the dog's ringing the doorbell saying, okay, my adventure's done. Let me back in. So it was a very happy ending on Christmas Eve. The family called it a Christmas miracle, and just a great story.
It is very cool. And Christmas is like, our favorite time of the year.
Absolutely.
And there's a
our
lot
favorite
of
time.
cool things that happen. And of course, you can do the Santa tracking. And I have to be honest with you, okay? I'm going to be like very transparent here. On Christmas Eve, and Kristen can tell you, I actually watched the NORAD tracking thing. But there's a neat story behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And the story is kind of, it's got some maybes to it. It's not completely official.
There's a couple of different versions, but we're going to give you the most positive version.
The most positive version. So in the 50s, of course, NORAD was around to track those that were doing bad things in the world and that we worried about. We were in the Cold War. It was a terrible time. And supposedly, a company printed a phone number, which was wrong, and it said, way to get a hold of Santa.
Mm-hmm. They encouraged kids
Yes.
to call this number to give Santa their wish list.
And so this little boy called, and a colonel answers at NORAD.
It was known by a different name.
It was known by a different name.
It was like 1955.
Yep. And at first he was kind of gruff and mean, and then he realized that this was a cute little person on the other end of the phone giving them his Christmas list, and he just took a second, paused, and came back with a very voice and told him that he should be in bed because Santa won't come without him being in bed. And so that was super neat. And it totally took a life of its own. It totally went from there to the point where they set up a big plexiglass tracker. They had a Santa tracker, and it became very popular. And even when we were kids, the NORAD, they used to do it on TV. Of course, it was before internet for me. And so when I was believing in Santa, and it was just so much fun. And so that's how it started. And of course, the colonel said, hey, listen, I'm not a dummy. I know this is good publicity, and I'm going to go for it. So he went for it, and it was like, yeah, I've got this.
And supposedly there were a bunch of calls that same year. No, we don't really know if that's embellished or not. We don't really know if the ad was printed wrong or if the little boy just mixed up a couple of numbers, but it reached the emergency phone.
Yes, the red phone.
So it's a cute little story, and now we have over 100,000 kids that call every year wondering, when is Santa going to be at my house? Or am I on the naughty list or the nice list?
I never asked because I didn't want to know.
You don't really have to ask.
I didn't?
No.
No.
You probably were on the naughty list
My
every
mom
year.
told me I was a good boy. So I don't believe anybody else, not even Santa.
There is a Pennsylvania couple, And this happened back in December as well. There was a Pennsylvania couple that was married in 1951. And they ended up getting divorced in 1975. And, after having 4 kids, nobody really knows why. They didn't tell anybody why they got divorced. But they got remarried to other people. And after their spouses died, they had stayed good friends all this time because they had kids together. So they were always connected. They had stayed really good friends. And after their spouses died, they reconnected and decided, you know what? This is too long to be apart. So after almost 50 years of being divorced, they got remarried in December because they didn't want to spend another day apart. And he's 94 and she is 89.
How cool is that? So, for all of those people out there who watch Hallmark movies, it does really happen. It does. I mean, come on.
Yes, it really does.
It's a Hallmark movie right there.
It really does.
If she owns a cookie place.
Or maybe he owns a Christmas tree farm. It's in Pennsylvania.
Saint Nick. Have you noticed how, though, just a side note here and no bashing Hallmark movies because I love them. My wife has introduced those to me now. But have you noticed how many of those are in our great state of Ohio?
A lot of them.
It's like, I don't know. I guess probably Saint Nick probably summers here in Ohio. He has to use the sleigh because, as we all know, there's road construction constantly. So he's flying over it to get to where he needs to go.
Flying over the potholes.
Yeah, the potholes, exactly. One of the things I'm so proud of.
Hard to say.
It is not really. I'm proud of a lot of things, so I guess it would be hard to say. But my spelling.
No, that is probably not anything to be proud of. Literally, I'll hear him say, Alexa.
Yes, we don't want to fire her off because she's over in the corner and she'll be like, what? Anyway, I do. I'm really bad at spelling. And it's like one of those things. So I never liked Scrabble. It was never my thing. I was one of those games. I played anything but Scrabble. So there's a guy from New Zealand, and he does a very interesting thing. He decides he's going to enter a Scrabble tournament in Spain.
Wait, a guy from New Zealand enters a Scrabble tournament in Spain?
That's what it says right here. See, on my stuff, you wrote it.
Yes.
So he is from New Zealand. He's going to enter the Scrabble tournament in Spain. See, right here. And the thing is, he doesn't speak Spanish. And here comes the kicker. Not only did he do this, and he entered the Scrabble tournament in Spain, mind you, he has never entered a tournament before. And how about this kicker? He doesn't speak Spanish. Guess what the cool part, though? And I think I love these kind of stories of perseverance, of doing this kind of stuff. He wins. And he doesn't speak Spanish. I'm like, I feel for the people that are over there speaking Spanish, and this guy beats them, and he doesn't understand what they're saying.
How about the defending champion? The guy was a defending champion that he beat. He won 18 out of his 24 games. And the guy who won, who just started, what he did was he said, I'm just going to memorize the Scrabble list in Spanish. That's what he said. And he started a year before he entered this tournament. Now, he did have 5 English language championships. So obviously he is very good at Scrabble.
Obviously.
But this is ridiculous.
So is this like if you're Tom Brady and you've won all these Super Bowls, right-handed, you want to throw left-handed? I mean, I think
he wanted the challenge.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But he won 23 out of 24 of his games. 23 out of 24. I can't even spell
game, so let alone. But I mean, I think that's really cool.
It is really neat.
It is. And it's a challenge, and I love challenges. And I think that this year for us, we're talking about and praying for breakthrough. And we think that is super important. And last year, we had a chance to go to a great event in, of all places, Omaha, Nebraska. Can you believe that? There are great events in Omaha, Nebraska.
Was it really in Omaha?
No, technically not. But
like across the river?
People don't really like to claim Council Bluff, Iowa. Not even people in Iowa. And I'm from that area, so I know. But in Council Bluff, Iowa, we went to a great event called Ignite. Now, it's coming up again this year. We're going to put that information on the screen for you. But I think we should check out that video.
If needed, seat cushions can be used for flotation. To use, pull up tray. So now before we take off, be sure seat backs are upright, tray tables and carry-on items are stowed, and our armrest is in the resting position.
It was raining earlier.
It rained cats and dogs. It poured. It was a downpour. It was ridiculous.
See, and when things rain, and the rain happens, things grow. These guys were normal sized heads when we were here, and then they grew like that. Everything grows bigger in Iowa. If you're an Iowa farmer, you know what we're talking about. But tell everybody, what is Ignite?
The Ignite conference, it's Ignite Christian Business Conference. We're going to have very big speakers. We have keynote speakers that are incredible. They're bringing God into the business world. We're making the marketplace the miracle place.
Let's go. Let's go.
We are overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And Jesus is the testimony. Behold the Lamb of God that takes away the sin of the world.
God's not done with America. Do you believe that tonight? Yeah. He's not done with this nation. As a matter of fact, He's priming us up in a showdown between good and evil.
There have been seeds that have been planted through Ignite, maybe even through the community calls and things throughout the year.
Energy, vitality, all the things that we want, this has been designed in our DNA.
We have to stop every now and then and say, what's the problem we're solving for? Because sometimes if you don't define the problem properly, you come up with an elegant solution to the wrong problem.
In your seat back pocket. As we complete our final safety checks, let us know if you have any questions. We'll do everything we can to ensure you have a safe and relaxing flight.
Flight attendants, secure the cabin, prepare for departure.
that was a super event. We had a lot of fun.
It really was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed being there, except for the rain coming in.
The rain coming in, if you saw that, and the scary clouds that were there. And now, I'm kind of a weather buff. If you don't know that, I love watching weather. I drive Kristen crazy because I'll like go on YouTube and watch all these different meteorologists, especially storm chasers and stuff like that. So it was kind of fun. And then yet I realized I was at about 30,000 feet staring at a cloud and went, yeah, this isn't as much fun as it is when you're watching it on TV.
It was not any ordinary cloud either, trust
Nope.
me. It was pretty ominous looking. And at the time, it was not raining outside. You couldn't see the rain. I was sitting by the window on the plane and you couldn't see any rain. But boy, when you look down, as the plane started descending, you could see how, you know how it gets kind of that foggy looking?
Yep.
You could really see it, and it was not fun.
It was crazy. It was. Hey, listen, we'd love for you to come to Ignite. We'll put the information across the bottom. I saved her in post.
Nice sound effect. I like that.
She didn't have to use any sound effect in post. We'll post the dates for the event down there. It's a great time in technically Council Bluff, Iowa, but it's on the border. It is part of Omaha.
Yeah, if you're fly into Omaha. There's a couple of hotels that are right there, where you can literally walk out your door to the arena where it's at. Or the conference center, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
It's a great conference. We encourage you to make plans. It's in May this year, May of 2025. So plenty of time to get registered for the conference and to just go out if you're a business person or if you just want to be part of a great Christian conference. Either way, make your plans to join them for Ignite.
Hey, you know what I'm super excited about? This is our first Bible teaching in 2025.
I am really excited about it too.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Where are we going today?
Well, today we are going to be in Deuteronomy chapter 2. So in Deuteronomy chapter 2, this is really Moses speaking about the events at the time. Now, Israel, as we know, were wandering around in the wilderness for 40 years because, for lack of a better reason, they were disobedient to God. They didn't trust him. And so we have a little bit of an account here, and there's just a couple of things that I want to talk about that God laid on my heart when I was reading this. Deuteronomy chapter 2 says, "Then we turned and took our journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea, as the Lord spoke unto me, and we compassed Mount Seir many days." Now, did you know many days was approximately 38 years?
Huh. So you're at many days you're old.
Yes.
See? How cool is that?
"And the Lord spoke unto me, saying, You have compassed this mountain long enough. Turn northward." Now, I love it when I'm in a place that I don't really want to be. Have you ever been there in a place you really don't want to be? And God says, okay, it's been long enough. I'm going to lead you out of here. And the anticipation of how Moses must have been feeling when God said that, you think he was excited?
Oh, had to.
Hey, let's get out of here.
Let's do this.
Let's get out of this place. I'm
Yes.
tired of being here. And,
Oh.
we feel that way sometimes. And I'm sure, you watching have been in those places. Maybe you're in one of those places right now where you're just like, man, I'm just so tired of being here. And so God's told Moses, it's enough time, turn northward. And it says, and he said in verse 4, "Command you the people, saying, You are to pass through the coast of your brethren, the children of Esau, which dwell in Seir, and they shall be afraid of you. Take good heed unto yourselves, therefore, meddle not with them. For I will not give you of their land, no, not so much as a foot breadth, because I have given Mount Seir unto Esau for possession. You shall buy meat of them for money, that you may eat, and you shall also buy water of them for money, that you may drink. For the Lord your God has blessed you in all the works of your hand. He knows you're walking through this great wilderness. These 40 years the Lord your God has been with you. You have lacked nothing." I love this passage for a lot of different reasons, but a couple of them are right there in what this verse actually says. It reminds us, and this is what it was reminding me of, Rob. it was reminding me that sometimes we're walking through someplace and that place is not for us to stay. And I think that was why God said, hey, don't meddle with these people. This is not your land. This is your passing through moment. This is not a place for you to fight and get comfortable in. This is a place for you to walk through. But don't walk through and expect them to give you everything, but pay for things. Give honor to them by buying your meat, by buying your water, by doing these things because God's blessed you. I wonder how many of the Israelites thought, we've been wandering for 40 years. God has left us. He has not blessed us, even though God was right there every day supplying for them. I wonder how many of them actually thought, God, you promised us the promised land, and we're not there, and we're wandering around. But God specifically said in these verses that God has blessed them. In the middle of everything that they've done, God blessed them and said to them to pay for the things that weren't there and don't meddle with these people. And it got me really thinking that so much so that there are times in our lives when we have to recognize the passing through places versus the promised land. And I think a lot of times we get so caught up in opportunities that look great and we think this is our promised land. This is where God has brought us. This is where God wants us to be. And God is saying, no, this is your passing through place. And in the middle of your passing through, I am not going to give you this. And because that's somebody else's promised land. And just like it was the promised land for Esau and his descendants, sometimes we are in a place and we work so hard because we think that it's our promised land and we go, okay, God, I understand why you have me here. No, sometimes we don't because we don't ask God. We don't seek God and say, okay, God, this opportunity that you've presented me with, is this my promised land or is this my passing through land? And we need to recognize what is passing through versus our promised land so we don't stop and get caught up wasting our time trying to make something out of a passing through land when it truly is our passing through land on our way to the promised land. Because God's not going to give us that land. God is not going to give that to us because he has intended it to be somebody else's promised land.
Wow, that was awesome. Great job. I loved this study. This was incredible. Great way to start the year. Sometimes you're in a pass-through place. Mm-hmm. And we appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for reaching out to us. And we love each and every one of you. And remember, you can find us on the web at abundanttv.com. You can find us on the app. You can connect with us. We love getting, over Christmas time, I was getting to know, I was super excited. We love hearing from you. You can do that. And we will see you again next week. Go out and live an abundant life.